Hi everyone. Hope that you enjoy your spring break. And due to the coronavirus, we will start our virtual online teaching period. So first, I need to introduce something which is necessary information for our online teaching. Okay. So first is about the lectures. The lectures will be recorded videos which will be put on YouTube or some WebEx type lectures. WebEx is an online platform for just courses, and sometimes I think your lecture instructors will give you the link to get into WebEx classroom, and then you will have a real-time lectures at there. Okay. And second part is about our recitations. I will record the videos for every recitation, and then I will put the link to YouTube, and you will get the announcement. And within the announcement, you can just get into the link and watch the videos for our recitations. And there is one thing important is that the attendance will be taken. I'm thinking about how to take your attendance record. I figured out an interesting method. So within each recitation video, I will tell you some answers to one specific question. The question will be related to me, just like what is my favorite color or something like that. And I will post the answer. I will tell you the answer to this question uh, during our recitation at some random time. And if you have watched the video for the whole time, you will get the answer very easily. And then I will put a link, which is an Google uh, attendance sheet, and you will get into that sheet, and you will get the question, and then we will have you can choose the right choice from four choices, and that's and then submit the sheet. That's how we record your attendance. Okay. So we would like also to hold some virtual office hours and lab support hours. Uh, when I start the lab support or office hours, I will post an announcement which contains a link to a WebEx classroom, and you can get into the classroom and we can have some video chat, and you can discuss the questions and even share your screens to me to let me figure out what is wrong with your code or something like that. And the last thing is about peers class discussions. You can sign up to Piazza and ask her some questions to uh, our lectures, instructors, and TAs. And you can also have some discussions about the questions about programming with other students. Okay. So I will not go over every detail about exam 2. You can just check this by yourself. And we'll also provide some practice quiz for you to better review for and prepare for the exam 2. Okay, you need to read these announcements very carefully. It's within the home. So now let's start our recitation 9. Recitation 9 will be related to JavaScript loops and arrays. Uh, in this recitation, we would like to introduce and teach you some basic programming related to JavaScript arrays and loops. Okay, so the first job is get the initial file for our recitation. You can just click files.this tool, and then choose this folder, recitation information by sections. Our section is section 6 and 33. I have already uploaded the initial file for you for this recitation, which is called Recitation 9, Array Basics. So just click and then download. Okay. Okay. Good. Then we also need to use Visual Studio Code, and the configuration installation I will introduce them many times during our recitations. Uh, First job is open the folder which contains the files you have downloaded. For me, I just choose the folder which is called Recitation 9. You need to choose your folder for which contains this initial file, which I think it should be downloads. Okay, and because that my the default setting language for my laptop is Chinese, so I want to apologize for some inconvenience. But I believe that the default setting for languages will not affect our teaching. Okay. So now you just click this file to open this. I think this is all we need for today's recitation. Okay, so let me introduce the task today. So this is the complete um, HTML file. So today's job is like this. First, we will just generate some random numbers which forms an array, and we need to print each value within this array uh, right here. And we also need to define some arrays for names, just uh, people's name, like Joy, Mary, Tom, Mark, something like that. And then we need to define a function which is called print traverse. We need to get the array input and then print the traverse the array, which like this one is 7499, but we want to traverse this array, and the first one will be 59. We want to print the traverse array. We also need to print the traverse array for the names. Okay, which the first one has been the last one for the original array, which is Paul. And we also need to define two more functions to count the average books owned in the array. You just need to compute the average value for this array, which is 62. And you need to also just collect the largest number of books owned, which should be 99, and the corresponding people is Mary. Okay, so Mary owns the most books, and the number is 99. Okay, we also want to print a bar graph, display how many books owned by each person. So for Joy, she owns 74 books. We use one star to represent one book. So we would like to print 74 stars to represent that Joy has got 74 books. Okay, so this is how we want to achieve for today. So let's get into our program. So I think we don't need to introduce too much about some basic structures like HTML head, body tag, and h1 tag, h4, something like that. And also, if you want to write JavaScript code into you need the tag which is called script, right? So there's a function we defined which is called print array, and the input is a. A represents an array. So right now we would like to just print each value. Okay, so we need to write a loop to print each value. The loop will be like that. So let's imagine that we have an array which has four value, which is 10, 20, 30, 40. So the loops will work like that. Uh, we set our original index equal to 0, and then we collect this value, the first value, which should be, uh, this is the array A, which is should be A0, and then we print A0, use document.write. Okay, and then we need to make I equal to 1, and we collect this, which is A1, and then we make A equal to 2, which we collect A2 and print A2. Okay, so there is one important thing you need to remember, that in computers, there's the index for an array should always start at 0 until the length minus 1, which should be 3 right here, because this array has a length of 4. So this value, this element will be A3. Okay, so we need to collect each value and then print each value. So this is how the loop works. Okay, so we need to first use a command for the loop, which is for. We use the brackets, and within the brackets, you need to write 3 parts as the conditions for this loop. The first is the index. We just create a new variable which is called I, represents index, and we need to initialize this index. The index should be equal to 0 at the start. And then we need to set the ending condition, which is I smaller than a dot length minus a dot length. Okay, so for example, if we have an array A, the length is for this array is 10, and it will count from 0. It will count from 0 to 1 to 2 until 9, which is 10 number. Okay. So the first part for the condition for loop is the initialization for the index. And then we need to write the ending condition, which is I smaller than a dot length. And for each loop, the executions for all the operation for the index is I++, which means that I equal to I plus 1. So I++ is the same as I equal to I plus 1. Okay. And then you need to write the two square brackets, and within the brackets we need to write the code which we want to execute for each loop. So the code is very simple. We just use document.write. I would like to also introduce document.write function. Document.write function is just write something on your web page, which is like this. If we use document.write within brackets, which is array text, this function will write array text on our web page. So array write, which is very simple. We just collect AI. I is the index, and we use AI to get the value or element at this index. Okay. And don't forget that After we print all the values within this array, we also need add some break lines to give some spacing from different printings. Okay. So the first part is print array. So the second function is print the array values in reverse order, uh, which we also need to write a loop structure, and the loop will function like this. And this is also an array which is 10, 20, 30, 40. And the index for them is 0, 1, 2, 3. So the job is like that. We need to set our index first equal to 3, which is a.length minus 1. And then we collect this value and print this value. Use document.write. And then we decrease I by 1, which makes I equal to 2. And we collect this value and then print this value. And we make I minus 1, which is 1. We collect this value and print when I equal to 0 and collect this value and then print. So this is how we print the traverse order for an array. So the loop will be like that. So also we need for, just a for. We also need the index, but remember that because right here now we want to print the reverse order array. So the index, just initialize the index, which should be a.length minus 1. And the ending condition will be I bigger or equal to 0. And the execution or operation for each loop on the index should be I minus minus, which is which means that for each loop we like to decrease I by 1, which is first a.length minus 1 and then a.length minus 2 until a equal to 0. Okay, and then we write the operation for each loop, which is document write AI. So this is how we print reverse for an array. Okay, we need to use the live server to test our code. Oh, sorry. Right now we need to also add some necessary code for the testing, because right here we just defined the function, but we have not revoked the function. So look at here. We need to call print array function with books as the input argument. For the and I will also need to introduce the creation for the arrays. So the creation for the arrays is like that. First, we use var as a command, which is variables, and we give the array name. You can name an array as what you want, and equal to the command new array. And within the brackets, you can use two ways to initialize the array. First case is that you have already know the values for each element within this array. Like I have already know the value within the array called names is Joy, Mary, something like that. So I can just write each element, which is joy and mark. And you need to remember that you need a comma as separation for each input. And you can also have and the second case is that you don't know what will be in your array. So you need to just initialize the array with some fixed length. And the code will be like this: array name equal to new array, and the length is 10. Right here, you don't give any specific elements or values within this array. You just give the length for this array, which is 10. So this is how we initialize this to initialize the arrays using two different methods for different cases. So this loop is very easy to understand. It's just for right here, we just define an array which is called books, and it has a length of 10, and each element within the books array represents the number of books owned by each person. And the for loop is like this: we first initialize the index equal to 0, and for index smaller than the length, which is 10, the operation on the index for each loop is I++, and we generate a random number which is within 10 to 99, and this number is random. We just call it rand. And then we would like to assign this number to the element within our defined array, which is called books. Okay, so uh, there is a small question: is that why this code generates a number which is between 10 to 99, which is very simple. As we know that math.random generates a number which is between 0 to 1, and if we use this number times 90, so this number will be 0 to 90, and then we just plus this number by 10, which should be 10 to 99. Okay, so which is very simple. Okay, right now we just call this print array function. Just a print array, and the input array for this function is names. Right here, just do the names. Oh, sorry. The first we need to print books, and then we need to print names. Do not forget the semicolon right here. Okay. I know that someone of you may be confused about the double colon and the single colon. Actually, within JavaScript code, there is no difference between a double colon and the single colon. Okay. And now we would like to call the function which is print at reverse to print the reverse order for the books array. We just call print reverse, and the input is books. We also call print reverse function, and the input is names. Okay, so now let's do a small test. We need to use go live. Right now it doesn't present the right answer, so we need to recheck our code to see if there anything wrong with the code. Okay, a very stupid question, bug right here. Just right. Okay, go back. Oh, it presents the right answer. Oh, there is still some small question. There is no spacing between different number. So right now we still need to add some necessary spacing. Just use plus to combine the number and the space. And within the single column, we just add a space right here. And for this function, it should be the same. Okay, so the generation for random numbers is right. So we first generate 10 random numbers, which is within 10 to 99. Then we print the number of books and we print the names. We print the traverse the every books and print the traverse the names. Okay. So the second task is about just compute the average for the books and print this. And then we need to find the largest number of the books. And for example, for this one, the largest number should be 91. And we need to print this number right here. And also we need to figure out who owns the maximum number of books, which is corresponding to Tommy, right? We also need to print Tommy, the name right here. Tommy owns the most books. So this is the second job. Okay. So go back to programming. The function we need to complete is function find average. So the loop is also simple. Uh, I can introduce some how this loop works. For example, we also have an area which is 10, 20, 30, 50. Okay, so we need to define a variable which is called sum, and sum equal to this one plus this one plus this one plus this one, and divide them by 4, which is the length of this array, right? Okay, so uh, right now we also need the for loop. The loop is also variable I equal to 0, I smaller than uh, so you have seen that uh, when I just press tab, the code will be added automatically. It is realized by an extension which is called tab9. This extension, but uh, you can try this extension, but sometimes the extension will automatically add some wrong code, which will lead to the corruption for your code. So you need to be very careful if you want to use this. You need to check whether the automatically added code is corresponding to what you want to add. Okay. So before this loop, we also need to define the variable called sum. And sum should be equal to sum plus AI, which is the value at index I. And after this loop, we need to compute the average, operational average equal to sum, we sum by a.length, right? And then we return average. Okay, so this is how we compute the average value for an array. And also we can complete the function for find the largest index. We also need variable which is largest index. We initialize this as 0, and we also want to define the variable which is called max. Max also equal to 0. So within the for loop, I also can draw some graph to show you how it works. For example, we have an array which is also like this, and we have a variable which is max equal to 0. We have the maximum index I equal to 0. So we first collect this number. We compare this number to max. So if this number 10 is bigger than max, so we need to assign the index to I. We need to make I equal to 0. And then we go to the next value, which is 20. If we need to decide whether 20 is bigger than max. If 20 is bigger than max, we would like to make max equal to 20. And also we make I equal to 1. So, and then we go to next, and then we complete the loop and get the maximum value for this array and the largest index for the maximum value. Okay. So go back, it will be like this for also like this. Variable I equal to 0, I smaller than 8 length, I plus plus. So we need to define whether AI is bigger than max. If I is bigger than max, we need to assign AI to max. And we also need to assign the largest index equal to I. Okay? And we need to return the largest index. Okay, I forgot something to say is that if you cannot follow my steps to program, you can just click stop and then look at my screen and finish the programming and then restart the video once again. Okay, so about the attendance question, the attendance question is what is the favorite color for Weizhi? For me, the answer to that is green. Let me repeat. The answer to the attendance question is green. Green is my favorite color. Okay, so into getting to the link for recording attendance, you need to give the right answer for the question and write both and also write your name. Okay, so let's continue. We have already finished the function for find average and find largest index. So we need to call and use the function. Right here, what you need to finish is assign the variable avg average, the result of calling find average with books as the argument, which is very simple. Average equal to find average, and the input is books. This array we have defined, which is called books, right here. And for this one, we need to replace 0 with the largest number in the books array. So we just cite and collect the maximum value within the books array, and the index should be where. Where has already been defined we are equal to find the register index of the books array. So if we want to collect the maximum value of books, we just use books and the index is where. And who equal to names and the index is also where. Okay, and we have already have the code for the document alright, the printing. Okay, let's test. So right now, the the average for the books is 46, and the largest number of the books owned is 90, which I think it should be the right answer. And Andrew owns the most books. This guy, okay. And because we defined the randomly generator, so once we refresh our web page, the randomly generated number will be different. You need to remember this. Okay. So we have already finished the second task. The last task is just a print or bar graph which displays books owned by each person. Uh, Also very simple. We also need a for loop, and the condition is also the same. And within each loop, we need to first print use document.write to print uh, first the name. You need to first print the name, and then print the number of books owned by this person, and then use the number of stars to represent the number of the books. Okay. So document.write names I plus the breakings. So within this code, we have already print a line for the name. And then in the second line, we would like to print the number of the books owned by this one. So also document.write books I. Also, we don't need, we need some space after that. Okay, so we need also a new loop for printing the number of the stars. Okay, so which is 4, and we need to define the new index. The index can be j. So you need to remember very carefully. This index for the second level loop should be different from the first level loop, which is I, and the new index should be j. And for j, smaller than books I, and j plus plus, we just document the right start. Okay, so you need to also remember that after each person, we would also need some breakings to get into the new line. So document write breaking. Okay, so this is the loop for printing the number of the books owned by each person. So let us test once again. I think there is still something wrong. Okay, right now I make a very stupid problem. Right here, I just use I smaller than 8 or less. But what is the array A? We have not never defined array A. The array names is books, right? So go back. It shows the right answer. Okay. So I think this is all for today. This is the second task. Print a bar graph. Uh, so today we have already covered the topic related to JavaScript arrays and JavaScript loops. Um, See you at later lab support and office hours. And also don't forget to get into the link for recording attendance and answer my questions and also write your name. Okay, so that's all for today. Thank you.